Hello everybody, it's the old bear from the old bear's den of Bigfoot, and I come out today to an area that I got a Bigfoot report from, and the bad news is it's the same darn squatch I saw when I was 14. Was I 14 or 16? 16 years old. I'm getting forgetful. That's scary. And it's kind of windy today. I didn't want to do the video, but on the advice of KG, I'm going to do this video, and I hope it turns out good. But anyway, what you're looking at is where a older gentleman, if you look right straight in the middle of the screen, is where they were sitting last the second week of deer season here in West Virginia last year, which was right around December. And he brought his two grandsons with him. Now, one of them is a 16, almost 17-year-old boy, young man. And then the other grandson is 13, so they're both teenagers. And, well, Grandpa brought them out here pretty early in the morning, and they sat in the truck and were eating their egg and bacon and egg sandwiches, and Grandma had got up and made sure her grandsons had more than enough to eat and packed them a bunch of food. And well, they were sitting in the truck no more than 50 feet from us. And let me show you. Of course, have to look at okay. We got a KG, well, owl Sasquatch. The tree that you're looking at right now well, that's better. Anyway, well, we got Wallowa in the photo, but let me put you back to where we were at. Yep, that's, yeah, there it is. I'm sorry. But they were sitting down in there after eating their breakfast, and they heard three little taps on top of their pickup, which Grandpa got out and checked to see what it was, and he didn't find anything. So we kind of guesstimated that might be a Bigfoot throwing rocks at them, or trying to get their attention, or try to get them out of there underneath that tree. But there was no nuts in that tree, and that's what they were dealing with. And after it started getting daylight, they got out of the truck, loaded their rifles. Both boys were carrying a rifle, and Grandpa had his, and they had a backpack, big acorns. So they got out of there and walked down in there about 150 yards. Is where it's what you're looking at is about 150 yards over the hill, and that's where they were sitting until about 11 o'clock. And Grandpa decided he was going to treat his grandsons to lunch, and he fixed with a little Coleman propane stove. He fixed both of them some stew that he had brought with him, and fixed his last, and they had cheese sandwiches to go along with it. And while they were eating, they heard a couple of grunts, is what they said. And they thought it might be a deer, working its way towards them. But at that point, they got finished eating, and they kept looking to see where this grunting was coming from, and they couldn't find it. They even looked through their scopes, so it must have been down over in the hollow just below them where they couldn't see it. And at that point, they were sitting there, and Grandpa was putting stuff away in the backpack, and his rifle was laying over to the side. And the boys had their rifles right beside them, and they heard something start walking up the hill towards them. And Grandpa told the grandsons to get ready because it sounded like it was more than one deer. He thought, well, maybe they both can get a doe, and they wouldn't have a really tough drag to get it up out of the hollow to get up here to the hill, because there's a logging road that goes down there, so they could drag it up it. And he's on the lease of this property, and it's right here below a church and a cemetery, and that's where they were at. And whenever they saw this thing, the oldest grandson saw it first, peeking out from behind one of those big trees down in there that you're looking at. Way down in there, not right up close to you, but way down in there. And he got his grandpa's attention and said, "What in the world is that?" And Grandpa looked at it and he said, "I don't know what it is, but if it comes this way, you boys start shooting, and then when you're done shooting at it, I'm going to watch y'all's back. I'm going to watch it, and I'll stand here with my rifle, and you boys get to the truck." Now, the 17-year-old had his junior operators, which they have here in West Virginia, and he told him where the key was at, and he was to get him and his little brother out of here. Don't worry about Grandpa, which is to be expected from most grandparents. They would give their life to protect their grandchildren, just like I would. And at that point, after they shot at the tree that this thing was standing behind 4 or 5 times apiece, Grandpa was standing. By that time, Grandpa had picked up his rifle, and the thing looked out, and when it looked out, it was looking straight at the grandfather with a rifle with a scope on it. And I dare to say that the scope was probably put right between its eyes. The crosshairs on that scope was right between its eyes. And when it looked out and saw him, it jerked back in and turned and went straight back the way that it came. And the grandpa grabbed their stuff, and the grandsons were loading their rifles again to help their grandpa. They did not listen, like most teenagers. And they had to deal with Grandpa being a little bit upset with them on the way home. But he got them out of here. They left here probably around, he said, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And this is after them eating and being down in there all morning, and never saw a deer, never saw a squirrel, never saw a chipmunk. So the area was kind of devoid of any game animals. And, the grandpa thought that was kind of strange, especially, And then once he saw the Bigfoot, and he described this Bigfoot, and it's the same dadgum Bigfoot that I dealt with back when I was 16. So I'm out here again.
Something came right across here.
And we are going to do a little riding around and do some calls here shortly, and we'll put that on a video along with this video. I hope you all enjoy it, and I hope each and every one of you stay blessed and stay under the protection of the Most High God. Thank y'all. Bye-bye.
Something